Hi, I'm Mark Johnson, and our company, Artisan Restoration, did this wonderful barn project behind me a few years ago. And we took it down in Good Thunder and moved it over towards Mankato, St. Peter area, and converted it from a gable roof building to a gambrel. And by the time we got through with all the plumbing and heating stuff, turns out there was a whole bunch of equipment that did not fit inside under the landing of the stairs, which was supposed to be our mechanical room. So anyway, we're putting on this little structure here to cover it up and make it look kind of like a milk house would from the outside, or from the barn perspective. Let's go to the inside quick and show you the work there. We just had to adjust this door, which threshold was sticking because they put new weather stripping on it. Anyway, this barn was in Good Thunder, built around the turn of the century, I believe, and it's a 48 by 72 foot barn, and the bents in here are pretty much original timbers. The posts were cut off, and it was shortened a little bit because some of them have a little decay on the bottom, and quite frankly, a 12-foot ceiling here is quite plenty anyway. So anyway, that's the modification we made. But the other modification was when we got to this end of the building over here, the owners wanted to have it open and vaulted, and we didn't want to have one of these here bent assemblies going through this end of the building. So what we did is we got an engineer involved, and he designed this truss basically for us to put inside here. And in order to make it look like it belongs in the building, we actually veneered the outside of some glulam timbers that I had in my inventory, I guess you would say, and we covered them up with some slabs of material that were cut off the edge of some 3x12 floor joists that I got out of project in Ely, where they were taking down some buildings in the middle of town that were no longer useful. So we were able to cut these, which was quite interesting because the pieces had to be 25 feet long, and we've only got a 20-foot sawmill. So it took a little ingenuity, shall we say, to get those cut. And the timber underneath here is actually glulam. I think it was about a 7 by 24 timber, and we cut it in half, and it fit the bill for the engineering. And then the steel plates that we've got on there were fabricated at our shop and then coated with a solution of hydrogen peroxide, vinegar, salt, and that's pretty much the main ingredients. And it made them rust almost overnight. So anyway, we had to add an anchor to the floor here. Most of these posts are held down with brackets on the outside of the post and are hidden in the wall. But this heavy truss required a little bit more substantial anchoring, shall we say. Anyhow, let's go upstairs. The stairs we made out of 3x12s actually 4x12s from demolition project in Fergus Falls, where a friend of mine got the contract to take down the old armory. Up here, the flooring is actually the flooring out of the old barn, plus some replacement material that we had to use because a lot of it was not usable. And I think you can kind of see the difference between the old stuff and the newer stuff. The old flooring has all these little marks on it, which are basically what happens when you put your pitchfork down on the ground or on the floor and start talking with your coworker. You get all these little pock marks in the floor. Out here we have a deck that has no posts under it. It's held up by some big steel rods on each end that were actually in the barn. From what I understand, the tornado came through and it racked the building a little bit, and the owners decided to put some steel rods in to the building to hold it together, and they were actually drilled through these members here and installed right where this floor is. And anyhow, we probably should have paid attention to that, because after we put the building up, we didn't put them in there. We had this floor assembly here to take the place of those steel rods. Well, that didn't work quite the way it planned. In this connection here, between this timber and this post, there's what they call a mortise and tenon joint, and there's one wooden pin that goes through here and anchors these two members together. And believe it or not, that pin sheared off and that joint failed, and it actually started to open up the connection between here. So we designed these plates and installed them, and by tightening up these bolts here, we were able to pull the entire assembly together and at the same time prevent it from ever coming apart again. So we noticed that this winter, and you can see the gap that we have there. That's down to a little under a half an inch, but it was almost 3 times that big when I first discovered the problem. So anyway, we learned a little bit there after the fact, I guess you would say. But it turned out great. That was really the only structural issue that we had on the entire building. Everything else went together really good, and it's withstood, I think it's been 2 winters now. And the floor has cracked in the corners. It's got radiant heat in it, so my concrete guy said he would not dare to cut the control joints in the floor that basically are there to control the cracking in the floor. So we've got 2 small cracks on each corner right in that area, and that's it for the whole floor. So I'm pretty happy. Anyhow, we'll see you next time. Bye.